What's up, friends? Welcome to the Time and Space podcast. I'm Francis Donald. That's Jordan Hirsch, and we're here alongside segment Sean Tandy. Really blessed and fortunate to bring to you a great conversation today with Denis and Jaclyn Murphy of Friends of Jaclyn Foundation. Friends of Jaclyn is an organization that matches, simply creates these adoptions for children that have brain tumors or other forms of childhood cancer. Matches them with teams, college teams, high school teams, organizations, so that they can experience family and connection as they battle these really tough diseases.
Denis and Jaclyn's passion for this mission, it has really developed organically through Jaclyn's own battle with cancer as a young child. And the work that they do with families and organizations is really special.
We have a great episode coming up. And just a quick reminder again to like and subscribe on YouTube. And again, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, etc.
Before we start tonight's show, we just want to give a quick shout out to our friend Chris Bocklett and the Bocklett family. We're thinking about you. We're sending you tons of positive energy, and we're hoping for a full recovery and a quick recovery. And we're thinking about you, Chris. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. I'm Jordan Hirsch. That's Francis Donald. Welcome to the Time and Space podcast. This is episode 7. Hard to believe. Been doing this for already 7 full episodes and a few mini-sodes in between. And we are absolutely honored to have Jaclyn and Denis Murphy from the Friends of Jaclyn Foundation with us tonight to talk about their life in lacrosse, but more their life outside of lacrosse as just an amazing venture that they've taken on to spread joy to people. And we're just so excited to have you both on with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So what we like to do to start off our episodes is we go through what we call a fit check. So we're just going to go around and talk about something significant that we might be wearing this evening on the Zoom cast. We'll start off with Francis, best looking guy in the room every time.
I bought this shirt a couple weeks ago, and my girlfriend was really not happy with the purchase. I think, I embrace the Southern California vibe very much so. So anything that's tropical, leaves, palm trees, I love it. So I've got this shirt that basically it looks like drapes or something to that effect. But yeah, I'm proud to wear it. Proud to be a San Diegan. I went no hat today because I just shaved my head a couple of days ago, so I'm fresh up top. But I just wanted to show that off.
You shave your own head, right?
I shave my own head. Yep.
Incredible. Great job. Really good.
Very skilled.
Somebody did that, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I let her shave my head once.
What?
How'd you do?
He complained that I buzzed his ear.
Yeah, she's not too steady.
She's not too steady with the.
I was 9. Okay.
I know. I'll give you that.
I was 9.
That was 16 years ago.
That was. I don't know if you caught that. That was on the HBO special.
You know what? I did see that. Yeah, I did see that. So I'm gonna throw it over to Jaclyn and Denis now. But I have to say, it looks like you're both wearing rival SEC schools today.
Yeah, we are. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay warm and what's clean. Yeah, this is
softball.
LSU softball. Beth Torina, she's a great head coach there, and she does a great job with our adoptee.
And then my shirt is Florida Gators gymnastics team.
Cool.
Jenny Rowland, the head coach, is great. Their whole team is, they're a small team out of the entire gymnastics world, but they're talented girls, and their little adoptee Bailey is a cutie pie, and I really love her. So I love repping this shirt every time, just going around the house. So that's my shirt for today.
Yeah, one thing we don't lack is gear.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, out of all the teams that you've been affiliated with, how do you root for teams? Do you have
Or Switzerland?
Okay, fair enough.
Penn State play Hopkins. We sit at the 50-yard line.
Okay, got it.
Well, that means you win every game.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, undefeated.
Undefeated. So I am wearing I Know a Fighter shirt, and this is a shirt that I got a couple years ago at a basketball tournament I was coaching in at Tappan Zee High School. They do a game every year. Actually, I should say a day of games every year for the Children's Tumor Foundation. And it's something that at Hen Hunt High School where I coach, it's something that we've been so proud to be a part of every year. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to wear this shirt outside of the gym.
So Jaclyn, one of the things that we wanted to start with was just get to know you. You have an opportunity to tell your story as the foundation started right when you were 9 years old. But we want to know who you are right now. So tell us a little bit about Jaclyn Murphy Now.
Jaclyn Murphy Now is an athlete. I'll always be an athlete. I'm an athlete at heart. Even, when I was diagnosed, I was an athlete, big into it. And now afterwards, I couldn't really do the physical stuff like I used to, but I still love watching lacrosse, watching soccer. I just recently got into football. I'm a big New Orleans Saints fan, and I love watching football. And I'm screaming at the TV, and my dad's like, "You need to tone it down." I'm like, no. It's the sports. I'm a big sports fanatic. Whenever there's a game on or for a team I'm rooting for, I will go all nuts. So being an athlete and being competitive, that's still in my blood. So no matter what, college, pro, semi, I love it all. So big with sports. And then outside, fun fact, I collect elephants.
Really?
I'm a collector of elephants, all trinkets, bags,
Wow.
all types of things. That's a fun fact about myself. And then I love working out. I love staying in shape. I love going for walks. I just got a puppy. So I'm excited to, train him and go for walks and runs for him. He's very rambunctious and has so much energy. And when we were out in North Carolina, we were on the beach and he was just running like crazy. And I had to catch up with him. He almost went over a dune and I had to fight for him. But that's pretty much me in a T. I love hanging out with my friends. I love traveling, which is a good thing where we go all over the country for Friends of Jaclyn. So I missed that since COVID's hit. So
absolutely,
once COVID finally ends, I'm excited to travel.
Yeah, that's great. What Jordan and I are both big dog lovers. So what kind of dog and what's your dog's name?
His name is Saint.
Okay.
He's half Shih Tzu, half Pekingese. So he's a Pikazoo.
Pikazoo. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, but that's amazing.
Hi.
My sister cool name.
My sister
I think we got a quick glimpse of him before. What was he wearing? I think he was wearing some sort of outfit.
Yeah, he was wearing a hoodie that I got. It said lifeguard on duty. Like DOODY.
So with lacrosse and in watching some of the videos on the Friends of Jaclyn website, it looks like you found lacrosse pretty early, 9 years old. Kids at 9 years old, they do a lot of activities.
Yes.
Kids, 9-year-old kids do everything. What made lacrosse stand out for you?
Well, I was really big into soccer. Soccer was my sport. And then, a lot of people well, I grew up, my dad's from Yorktown. So Yorktown, when you think of Yorktown or Westchester, you think lacrosse. All my cousins played lacrosse. And lacrosse,
because they couldn't make the baseball team.
That's exactly why I started, just for the record.
So I'm like, lacrosse was fairly new in this area, and more guys lacrosse. It's funny because they didn't have girls lacrosse in my area. It was everywhere else but my area. So when my mom found this clinic, she's like, "Oh, let's take you." I'm like, let me sign up. So I'm playing with like 30 guys and like 2 other girls who I don't think were really there to play, to be honest with you. But I fell in love with it, and my coach was just awesome, and I started taking to it well. But then, I got sick, unfortunately. But I just loved from there on watching it evolve over the years, because it's completely done a 360 from 04 to 2021 now.
It's a great point. I don't think I saw a women's lacrosse game or a girls lacrosse game until I got to college. Which, funny enough, it was that's the same year. Our freshman year of college was 2004. So that's kind of the first time I saw women's lacrosse. And it is tremendously different, obviously. And especially then, as you said, it's evolved than the men's game. What are some things that you've seen? What are some things that stand out, I guess, in your time with lacrosse that really have changed in the women's game?
The sticks, for one, they were more, the heads were fatter. The stringing was completely different. Now the sticks are light as anything. The heads are more thin. Girls' sticks can now have mesh. Mesh just got introduced like 2-3 seasons ago. Like, that's completely different, because girls, you can't have pockets. Boys, You can play with the pocket and all that stuff. But that, and then the ruling and the lining of the field is different. It's trying to keep up with that is just crazy. I coached for 2 years, and I'm just like, they're constantly slightly changing, the lineage and where they can start, and when, you starting after the whistle, all this crazy stuff, and you can't keep up. It's just like, yeah.
Ever changing.
Need the sticks, just because we only have one stick in girls lacrosse other than the goalie stick. The sticks really stood out because my first stick was really heavy metal, thick head, and heavy to play with. Now they're light as feathers, and you can have mesh, which is really fun to play with, but hard to get used to.
Interesting. That's a really good point.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that, because Jordan and I have this tradition, I guess, of we send highlights back and forth of lacrosse, and it's typically has been men's lacrosse that we're sharing clips and things like that. And lately, some of the clips have been from women's lacrosse, because the skill level is so high in some of these clips that we're watching. And there's always been high levels of women's lacrosse. It's not like that just happened, but the control that I think some of the newer women's players have over their game, and the way they're able to really handle the stick and really do special things seems to be increasing now with that new stick technology.
Yeah, I mean, some of my big sisters, as I'm going to call them, they're the OGs of these girls now, in my opinion, because I saw them back in like 04, like 08, 07, and these girls now were watching that. So, and they didn't have the technology the girls do now. You know what I mean? From the sticks. So what they were producing then was just madness. Katrina Dow, I don't know if you know that name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Danielle Spencer, Kristen Kjellman, like those are OGs in my opinion. And I know some girls don't even know that. They know the what's her name? Taylor Cummings.
Taylor Thornton.
Yeah.
Oh, Taylor Cummings. Yeah.
Taylor Cummings. You know, girls like, you know, the younger generation. But for me, the originals are like the Kristen Kjellmans, the Hannah Nielsen's, Katrina Dowd.
What's an OG?
Perfect question, Dad. Perfect question.
I'm lost there. All right. Pass.
Can you both give us just a kind of a general rundown? What is Friends of Jaclyn all about? What is the mission? What is this work, this service that you're providing, and the experiences you provide? Just to give our listeners kind of some background about the foundation.
Yeah, so our mission at Friends of Jaclyn is to improve the quality of life, but to live in the moment and play in the moment. Life is so short. One day you can be healthy, and the next day, boom, you can be diagnosed with cancer, and that's what happened with me. So start Friends of Jaclyn. You know, one day I'm in the hospital. I'm sitting next to this little girl and in the waiting room. She goes, "Who keeps calling and texting you?" And I was texting my big sisters at Northwestern University, and she gets called into her doctor, telling my dad, "We need to get this girl a team." And that's, kind of how it's all began. Just one little moment of sports. And
Another great question, because of the mission. When you have a charity or a nonprofit, you got to live by your mission. And our mission is to improve the quality of life for children that are battling pediatric brain tumors, cancer. And there's a reason why we're focused on quality of life. It's what can we do for these kids today, not tomorrow or a week or 5 or 10 years from now. What can we do from today by pairing them up on a team? They get love, support, and friendship. And trust me, there's no clinical trial drug, no chemotherapy, and there's no radiation treatment more powerful than love, support, and friendship. And that's kind of the magic there. After doing this for 16 years, here's the ironic thing, and it makes my hair stand up. Our mission is to improve the quality of life. Well, the cure for pediatric cancer is going to come from Friends of Jaclyn, because after 16, 17 years, we've had student athletes that have graduated because of their relationship with their adoptee. They chose to go to medical school. That's great. Well, now they're in research. We've got multiple student athletes that are in research because of their relationship with Friends of Jaclyn. Focused in on the cure. My hair stands up every time I say that, because my dad always says, you never say anything that you can't deliver. And it's happening. It's happening. And then that's, research is important. But at Friends of Jaclyn, we're focused in on that quality of life. That cure, that research is being taken care of by our athletes, student athletes. Yeah.
So you are really well versed in Northwestern lacrosse history. Really, you have all the names down. You are able to kind of navigate through the years what has happened with their program, and that must be really cool for you now as a young adult, looking at their team and saying, I was really a part of that first run of championships.
I was, yeah. It was fun. Once I went to college, it kind of fell off because I was now a grown up and I was doing my own thing, and kind of lost touch. But that's just because I'm now that was when I was sick, and I grown up through Friends of Jaclyn. Some of these kids are in their program, their lifetime, in there. But then eventually you grow up and that's in your past kind of a thing, but it was a good part of your past. And that's kind of how Northwestern was for me. It was a great part of that time. But then I just grew up, and I still keep in contact with the girls, a lot of those girls, that's why I mentioned them. And then girls that are not, they're not big time, went off, to play for US or, whatnot, but I'm still close with a handful of them, and they helped me grow into the person I am today and helped me get through a very difficult time in my life. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, it must be pretty special to be able to look back on a team like that and have that connection and not just connection from watching, but really experiencing that success. And it's great to hear that you still keep in contact with that team, because I think that what I saw in the HBO special is that they really benefited from getting to know you and having that interaction with you as well. So I would imagine that they feel that you are very much a part of that success.
Yeah, the girls were great. They were, honestly, they were the best, and they were there for me. And one of my favorite stories is one time I was getting treatment, I believe it was, and my veins are so tiny that it's hard to find like my veins to put the IV in.
They were scarred from being hit so much.
Yeah, they're scarred. Yeah. So one time this was back in, I think, 2006. I was texting, Kristen Kajelman. I was like, I'm getting blood done and it's not working. And she's like, I'll score a goal for you. And she ended up scoring like 6 goals that game in one game. I'm like, okay then. Way to go, Kjo. Oh, just little things
on cue.
Yeah.
What I really loved about hearing all the things that the Northwestern team and your family's connection to them, it was so authentic. Everything about it was authentic. And this was before the foundation was started, and it was really an organic connection. And if I'm right, and please tell me if I'm wrong, it was one of your lacrosse coaches connected you to Kelly Amante Hiller. Is that correct?
Yeah. So how I told you I was part of a clinic my mom signed me up for. So my coach, Matt Cameron, he knew Kelly's brother, Scotty, from college. And what happened was when he saw I didn't come back after a couple, he's like, I thought Jaclyn was liking. Did I do something wrong? So that's when he called up my parents, and that's when they told him I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and he was in shock and wanted to do something. Ended up contacting Kelly or Scotty. He ended up contacting them, and that's when I get a care package from this college lacrosse team that I had no idea about. And then I get this care package, and it's like a media guide, a ball signed by the team, a shirt, some sweatbands, and some other fun stuff. And the main thing in that was the media guide, which each girl took her time to write on her page and write me a personal note.
Wow.
That's awesome.
What
a special.
Yeah, Jordan, you hit it. I mean, that's really good assessment. It's organic. That's the word that I associate Friends of Jaclyn to, because everything we've done, we've got 3 programs: the adopted child, okay, the sibling program. I got a real soft spot for siblings because they're the most overlooked kids in the whole cancer community. And then, the mortality here is off the charts. And I didn't go to college for this. I didn't know anything about a 501c3 or nonprofit. And so everything has been growing step by step by step. We didn't say, we're going to start a foundation. Here's the mission. We're going to have 3 programs. They've just been
organic.
Yeah. And you hit it right on the head. And I think that's what differentiates Friends of Jaclyn from a lot of other nonprofits out there. Our mission and how we've grown. And I think the magic, you touched on the magic too, Francis, is the magic is these kids having the opportunity to be on a team, just to be on a team and be normal. They just want to be normal. They don't, once you get dealt these cards, the side effects are devastating and long lasting. A lot of these kids are treated differently. They're looked at differently. Some of them even bullied, which I got a really low tolerance for. So to give them that opportunity to go to be on a team and feel normal and forget about, the world and be in a place where they're treated normal and not looked at for their disease. That's the magic. That's the magic right there.
Well, in some of the videos that I've seen that have documented some of your young people who have been adopted, it's not just a kid sitting in the stands and people giving them high fives, right? It's a young man at the midfield during the Hopkins Penn State game at the coin toss, and then Jeff Tambroni, pushing him in his wheelchair off the field so they can start the game. It's kids at a Wyoming basketball practice, with the bands around their legs doing the warm-ups, and so this, when you say on a team, you mean on a team. They've got kids signing national letters of intent and in front of the teams that they're joining at Ohio State and Hopkins. So I just really love the integration that I've seen in the program and that level of connection that you are initiating. And it's not performative at all. It is there.
Yeah. Each one is unique in its own self. It is not a cookie cutter, copy here. Each one is individual in itself, and each adoption is unique, and each one, we still get choked up, and we still can't believe some of these teams, how thoughtful, and they go over and beyond what they do and how they go about it, and everything from our first adoption to our, now it's different because it's on Zoom and it's not interactive.
Right.
Well, so much, but it's definitely come a long way.
Yeah, and it's not for one game or one season. It's for life.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we're alive, Bailey's going to be a Gator and Ellie's going to be a Tiger on LSU for as long as they're alive. So that's the dream. The dream is that these children have the opportunity to. That's why when Jaclyn went to Marist, I used to tell her, right, I'm the only dad in the country that tells you, I'll use some nice words because I'm a New Yorker. I don't give a hoot about your grades. Just try your best. We'll get through this. Yeah. I says, your journey's different than the quote unquote, the normal person. And you know how competitive college is just to get in these days. These kids have had radiation and chemotherapy, so they're at a competitive disadvantage. So I said, A, you're inspiring kids to live this long. Okay. A, to live this long, but B, to go to college, that's off the charts. That's good enough for me. We'll get through school, and we did, and that was a big deal because everybody in our cancer community can look. Jaclyn represents hope.
It really amazes me, and when I was able to connect with Denis last week, the passion that you both have. And I felt it through the phone with Denis and Jaclyn. I feel the same way about you. The passion that you both have in serving this cause is it's inspirational. I don't know how else to put it, and I don't even think inspirational is a strong enough word. But that's as good as I can do. And what you do on a daily basis for people, for families, for children, it's nothing short of amazing. And the connection that you must have to all of these families, and the stats are really amazing too. You've worked with almost 1,000 teams and organizations, almost 1,000 families. Do you feel like your experience every single time you're able to connect with those families and they feel your passion for service? What is that like? How you're all over the country doing this every day. What is it like to have that connection with so many people?
Well, to me, it's like giving a pint of blood every adoption. And like Jaclyn said earlier, every adoption is different. We do them in locker rooms. I mean, before COVID, we're doing them now on Zoom, but still. And I think again, you're hovering right over this whole program because you don't know what it's like unless you walk in our shoes. And you made a great point because the parents that we're actually they become family, and we got a big family. And you know, I was raised you know, I'm one of 6 kids, and if you mess with one Murphy, you're messing with them all. So, that's just how it is, and they get it. You know, the parents understand this program. I had a mom say to me, you know, Friends of Jaclyn's like Make-A-Wish, but it's every single day. And it took a while for that to sink in. And I go, what do you really mean by that? And it's like, Jaclyn did Make-A-Wish, and we didn't know she had a 30% chance to live at the time. And my wife was like, we're going to do it because we don't know if she's going to be around to have her wish. So she didn't really get the max out of her wish because we went down to Disney, and it was hot, and she had to stay in. And a lot of these children, they get their wish, and it's a one-time shot. It's kind of sad because when they leave, they go home. It's, you know, they put the key in the ignition, it's back to reality. So that's where we fill that. And we're partnered with Give Kids the World now. That's where you stay. If you go on, and about 50% of the kids that do that do Make-A-Wish end up going to Disney, and they stay on this facility called Give Kids the World. And I talked to them. I said, these kids need a team after they go on their wish, and they agreed. So we're partner now, and we have a lot of children now that after they do their wish, we get them a team, and then they continue to have that opportunity to you know, to be on a team. But to the feeling with the parents to give their child that opportunity to, like I said, be on the team, be normal. There is no norm. Once you're dealt the cards for cancer, out the window.
To give them that moment of seeing their child smile and not be in pain. They're, you know, throwing the ball around or interacting when they're so isolated. Because when usually a lot of the kids, I mean, some of these kids have personalities like no other, but some of them are, because they're in isolation in their rooms, and their only interaction are these doctors and these good doctors and these nurses. We shut down, and it's hard for us to interact. I'll see a kid be so shy and quiet in the beginning of the adoption, and by the end, they don't even want to leave because they're so close with their big brothers or their big sisters. They don't want to go. They're in a happy place. Like Dad said, they're in this bubble of happiness and painless, no needles, no doctors, no nurses. It's a good place. The field or the court is their happy place now.
Right.
I think the beauty of, again, we were so captivated by all the videos that you were able to send us. And, you know, I'm a teacher. When I think of homework, I think of bad, like that's bad. Like kids don't like that. Students don't like that. This wasn't homework for us. This was us just really taking in what you do. And it is truly incredible. And, you know, what really shone through those videos was a reciprocity of emotion, and how the teams were getting so much from the child, and the children are getting so much from the teams. You know, one thing that stood out, there was an Army lacrosse player that was interviewed in one of the videos, and he was talking about Gio, one of the adopted children from Friends of Jaclyn, and he said, what he gives us, referring to Gio, what he gives us is more important than what we can give him. And this is a I mean, this is a special individual going to West Point, obviously, but it's still a 20-something-year-old that probably doesn't have that perspective otherwise. Do you see, and I know, Dennis, you go to the majority of the match days, right?
Adoptions, yeah, correct.
Right, adoptions. And I guess why I say that is what goes into the process of matching kids up with teams, because it just seems like you nail it every time.
Well, that's, you again, you're here. We're interviewed by a lot of people, and this is unbelievable because we haven't had this discussion, and we haven't had questions like this. And the biggest misconception of Friends of Jaclyn is just what you're saying is like, well, how do you match a team perfectly? And that goes back to the whole process of, it's not about being on Army lacrosse. It's about Coach Alberici, and his players ahead of time buying in 100%. Yeah, we want in, because we tell them, look, the mortality, what are you going to do if you're in the middle of the season and you're undefeated and your child passes? How's your team going to react? Do you want to go through that? You have to have that discussion with the players, before we even consider doing a match. But then it's the children. They come on the team, and Gio's from Staten Island. Okay, Gio didn't know anything about lacrosse. He didn't know anything about lacrosse, and he loves it. He just loves it, and it's that's the magic, and they learn to love those that nucleus, that new family that he has that treats him normal, and he feels he can go to that practice or that game, and like Jaclyn talks about the bubble, everything inside the bubble it's pure. It's no longer needles getting poked, doctors. And if you look at a lot of these young, Jaclyn talks about how they're shy. Well, a lot of these children associate pain with adults because that's all they're around. And sometimes when we bring them in, you're looking at 40 players on West Point. They're monsters. They're adults, and they come out and they're very shy. But then we do the adoption, and then they
warm up, and then they come out of the shell.
Yeah, and then that's the magic, and that's what drives us. That's completely, we can't look behind. I call it the black door because it's behind me. And I told you, when the phone rings, it's not a good thing when my phone rings. But when I get a call from Jordan about what he wants to do with this personally, okay, and I told him, you guys are going to change lives. Okay, this isn't a podcast to me. I look through life through a different set of lenses. Okay, this is an opportunity to get our awareness out there. Somebody's going to watch this, and somebody knows somebody who's got a sick child. They're going to tell them about the program because of Jordan Francis, and then they're going to come out of their bedroom and they're going to get signed up. They're going to be on a team. You change your life. Okay, you'll probably never meet them or ever see them or hear about them, but that's the breadth and the depth of Friends of Jaclyn. So I was excited to do this because this is an opportunity to change lives. It's more than a conversation or a podcast, if you want to call it.
Absolutely.
So you guys you've created an instrument that's going to change lives. Thank you.
Well,
yeah,
we appreciate that. I mean, I mean, truthfully, like, this is much more than we could have bargained for. The reason you haven't received maybe questions like this is because we're not pros at this. We're not professionals.
But also, thank you for trusting us to represent you, Jaclyn and Dennis and your organization. And I think that one thing that we try to do with every episode that we have is make sure that we are appropriately representing the individual who we bring on the show. And it's about storytelling, and you have over 1,000 incredible stories that you have crafted through the work that you do. I wanted to go back though, and because I was wondering about the selection process really of the selection of teams. And I wondered, have you ever had to counsel a team out of your process because you maybe didn't feel like they were ready to take on the experience? I don't want to put a negative spin on it, but I just wanted to.
That's a fair question, and it's reality. I call it the coaching carousel. Okay, yeah. There's so many changes, and we don't know who comes in, and we learned. Again, I didn't go to. We didn't. This is just we're learning and building this as we go. Are living our journey is what it is. It's our journey. It's part of our journey, and we've had coaches come in,
and then they.
Yeah, and we've had a couple of children, that kind of fell through the crack, and we had to save, and we repaired them. We call it a repair. Right. So Jaclyn was talking earlier. We hope and pray that they graduate, they grow up, and then they go on, and we've got some real success stories like that are really, really powerful. And so it's a learning process. So what we learned to do is we put together a committee, a freshman, sophomore, junior, and a senior. And they're in charge of keeping that glue together if there's a coaching thing.
Awesome.
So you nailed it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
That's a privilege. Okay, right. That's a real privilege to be a captain like that. To be a Friends of Jaclyn, and that's where we have the Tambroni and Petramala. Some of these coaches, they're not coaches in my eyes. These are leaders, and to me. Leaders develop young men and women to go out and make a difference in the world. And man, they've done it. They do it on another scale. Petramala adopted 4 kids.
Yeah.
4. Wow. And we've lost them. Marquise died. I went to the funeral with him, and this is it's sad. It's sad, but he stepped up, and again, the players wanted to come up to the plate again. Do you want to go through this experience again? And that shows the kind of caliber of person that attracts to these coaches. And to me, they're leaders. Def Tambroni, he's in a league of his own. He's in a league of his own. His daughter. Why don't you tell him about Carissa?
Carissa's high school, Kimball Union Academy, adopted last November, December. And they adopted a little girl named Ellie, and her field hockey team took her in, and she was a cutie pie. She was like a year old or so. Yeah. And so his daughter saw what her father did, and she took it with Gavin, and she took it to her high school her senior year. Yeah.
That speaks volume. We were raised, children are a direct reflection of their parents. That's the way I was raised. And his daughter goes out and goes and does that from seeing the experience with Gavin and how he treats Gavin, how the team treats Gavin at Penn State. So, that's really getting the awareness out on a breath that, I couldn't even dreamt that up.
What are you keeping your eye on right now? And not that it's about achieving a certain status, but what does growth look like?
That's another.
That's a great question.
Yeah, we didn't have this conversation ahead of time. All right, so why don't you tell them where you are with the doctor?
I've been in remission now. I'm cancer free for now 16 years.
Amazing.
So thank you. So it's funny because I was supposed to have my MRI this past March, but right before once COVID hit, they're like, you can't come in. I'm like, I missed it by a week, which I was so mad about. And then they're like, oh, you can come in April. And then they're like, no, we got to push it back. And so they kept pushing it back. Then it was May, and then it was August. And then I'm like, okay, well, I got to do it before my birthday because I'm no longer on my parents' insurance because I turned 26.
Right.
So I get in.
Wow.
So I had my MRI in September, which was weird because normally I have my MRIs in March. So this will be my first year that I'm not going to have an MRI. I'm going to take a break, since I've been in the remission now for it'll be 17 years in March. So it's crazy, but I still have my little struggles here and there, but all good. I have balance issues, so
Okay.
that, and I have a shortness of breath, so I can't run that long and all that stuff. And it looks like I'm drunk sometimes when I walk, but I'm sober because I'm bumping into people, but that's just because of my gait dropping and relearning to walk.
Okay.
But we live her. All I care about is, when she gets her annual MRI, and all of our children for the rest of their life that are going to be getting MRIs, because there's not a cure. There's not a cure
Right.
for this. And the only thing that we hope and pray for is 3 letters, and that's NED, no evidence of disease. So when she gets her MRI, the doctor says, "Hey, Mr. Murph, there's no evidence of disease. We'll see you next year." So it got me thinking, about our programs where we are speaking organically. We have the Adopt a Child, the sibling program, and I got a real soft spot for siblings because I'm guilty. I was telling Jordan of what I call unintentional neglect. There's so much focus on Jaclyn that all these other siblings, they're forgotten about. They're put to the side because there's so much focus on let's get that child better, and that's afflicted with the disease or cancer. So that, and then the Angel program. Anybody that's listening to this podcast can become an angel. And all you have to do is go on our website, friendsofjaclyn.org, JACLYN, and then go into programs and sign up to be a guardian angel. And when we have a child in hospice, you're going to get an alert. And all we ask you to do is say, hey, send a text message or an email to the parents saying, hey, we're thinking and praying for your child's son. I'm Francis. I live in San Diego, and I'm a surfer, or what have you. But they get thousands and thousands of emails, and it helps pass that time when their child's earning their wings. And that's really, really powerful. So those are the 3 programs. And then, the next program where I'm thinking down the road is what I've learned, what we've been talking about here all night, is this team, and you call it family. And that's what we have is the magic and sharing this with other illnesses and other cancers. So, anybody can be a part of NED. Okay. And you guys are what I would call NEDvocates. You're inspiring people that would go out and help somebody who's got a disease or cancer, and you're doing it right now with us. You're advocating for us. And I'm creating this brand called NED. And I'm kind of breaking the ice here, but
okay.
Hey, you heard it here first.
So we're looking to talk to a Nike, Adidas, or an apparel company to help us branch it, get this going and branch it out. So that's
love that
down the future.
It's amazing.
But taking our magic and almost sharing it with everybody out there that's battling a cancer or disease. So
I think that's when we look at you and your organization and your family, that's what we see, is you're sharing the magic. That's really what we see. And the more programs that you do, it just becomes even more impressive. And I didn't even think about, in looking at who's working in your foundation, there's only 4 people, and you're doing this much good. It's unbelievable. And that's something, for us, we don't take those kinds of things for granted. And we hope that the people who do listen to this and see this do share it with people who may want to get involved, whether it be sending that text that you were talking about, or in need of some support. This is what we're after here. It's about the community here, and it's just inspiring. It really is. It's inspiring stuff.
And we love a good play on words. So NEDvocates
sure do.
is that's catchy. We like that.
Breaking news, I guess, right? Is that breaking news? It's amazing. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Do we have to edit? Do we have to cut that part? Should we wait?
That's our first, I don't know. That's our first big break. as a family who has, you're not just doing this work because it inspired you necessarily. You're doing it because first you were in it, right? You were the first friend of Jaclyn. You love what you do. You're creating amazing experiences for children who can't create them for themselves. Does it get exhausting sometimes? Is there sometimes when you hit a wall where you've lost a child, or a couple children have gotten their wings and it's just so heavy? What are those moments like? Because we all find those moments in our passions. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Wow. Yeah, it's brutal. We lost 4. It comes in waves. Unfortunately, it comes in waves. And I remember we lost 4 in 1 week, and I had a hard time getting off the couch, and I could feel the pressure. I could just feel it, and I'm fighting just to get up off the couch. And you would think, oh, that's a simple thing for anybody to do, just roll off the couch. It was that intense. It was really, really that intense. And the inspiration, the glass is half full. I look what we do. It's brutal to watch these kids suffer. And we talk about the 9th floor of Sloan Kettering. Well, there's a 9th floor in every hospital that these kids are in. And that's, to me, that's where heaven and hell meet, because you got the good doctors there, nurses and caregivers there, but the beast is there 24/7, 365. It doesn't go home. It doesn't go home. And I lived there. Linda lived at the Ronald McDonald House. Only one parent was allowed to stay. I stayed there with Jaclyn, and my other daughter was bounced around with neighbors, and that's why I got a real soft spot for the siblings. But to see there, and then next week there's not a child there that we've gotten to know on the team. They become family, and that I can't put that in words.
It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet, where I remember, like he said, there was 4 kids, but it might have been the 4 kids. 2 boys passed away day after each other, like within 24 hours. Yeah. Mikey and then Xavier. And those were 2 little boys that I was very close with. Xavier was part of the Marist men's lacrosse team. I was a junior when he passed away, and I went to the wake, and I was a hot mess. And thank God I just got over finals. I was still at school, and I just finished my last final. I went to the wake, and I was a hot mess. That was probably my last funeral, just because I'm like, this is too much. It's like I helped him and his family take away the pain and the suffering, and I let him have that moment, let him be on a team for that season or 2, and then all of a sudden he's gone. It's hard. I don't know. To lose someone is hard, but to lose a child at a young age, it's even harder. And it's hard to explain and put in words. It's kind of like the whole adoption process. It's hard to put in words because it's unique, and you just need to. I don't even know. It's hard.
Well, to me, that is the courage in your organization, is being willing to enter into a space where that is there, right? That part of living is there, and that death may be a part of this process. And so when you say you talk to teams about that, I love that you front load with that, because the teams need to understand that as well. And they need to understand that it's not just the good time that will be a part of this experience, right? There may be suffering that also occurs. And if you're going to take on the happiness as a team, you're also going to take on the tough times. And I think that experience, the breadth of that experience, is the experience. And I love that teams are willing to enter into that in service of these young children.
Yeah. One of the biggest, I always kind of look for the silver lining in this whole Zoom thing since COVID. So we're doing adoptions. We haven't stopped. We're doing more adoptions now than we have prior, because we can do them like this. And I don't have to travel. We don't have to travel.
Mhm.
So the logistics of getting Jaclyn and myself, the team, the family all together, it's a lot quicker to do it on Zoom. And so all these players are in their bedrooms at home and they're feeling sorry for themselves. I can see it. You know, we did the UNLV basketball team. You know, the body language. You know, they're not doing what they love, and they weren't even back at school. Some of them, and so they're getting a taste of the isolation that we live.
Mhm.
That's a way of life for us, for these children, and that's, you know, their world. If you think about it, especially a Division I scholarship, you know, their world is catered to, absolutely catered to them on a silver platter, and all of a sudden you throttle this thing back, and now they're at home and they're all upset because they're in their bedroom and they can't go out. So it's been a learning experience for them, and they've appreciated that, you know, what we're doing, and these children now need it more than ever. This communication, and even though we're not being able to see everybody in person, do the adoptions in persons, we'll get there. Now more than ever, they need that sense of communication. And you know, we just did an adoption with an esports, University of South Carolina, Sumter, and they've got an esports. This, I didn't realize how big this gaming is. And then when it got my head blew up when I was talking with the coach and we're doing the adoption, and they had a class of 20 gamers, and they're all home, and it was half men and half girls, and they compete. I go, what league are you guys in, or, you know, who do you compete against? And it's all over the country. They compete. They were going against Clemson, and they're rattling off. I'm like, I didn't get it. But if you think about what our kids do in the hospital, they spend so much time there that they're all doing this at the hospital. So we're talking about doing some things in the future that I'm pretty excited about, that I think is going to be really, really powerful, really powerful and beneficial to all the children in the hospital. And they're going to have teams out there just lining up and they're rattling off games like
Well, when I
Goldmine or
Minecraft.
Minecraft, yeah.
Fortnite. Every time we do adoptions, we play Fortnite. I'm like, I did.
So when I was sick, I had the big TV, and I was playing Mario Kart with the big controllers.
Right.
Kids don't even know.
Oh
that.
Yeah.
Never changed. Jaclyn never changed.
Yeah, that's more our lane. That's our lane.
It was Mario Kart.
Yep.
I can't help but notice the intentionality that you have in saying the names of these children, and really showing us how unique each experience is. And it just goes with that passion. It shows through in everything you do. And do you feel like your intentions often meet like the goal and mission of the foundation?
Yeah, it's like Jaclyn said, we don't know how the child is going to react, because this is the first time they've come on campus. So there's like a risk factor, but we're comfortable knowing that that's our job. Our job is to make this.
We're the middleman
and bring these two families together as one. And if we've done our job, and that's why we got to go out and, in an adoption, we talk about our programs, but our journey, we have to walk. That's our chamber of horror. So, we wear it on our sleeve, and then we hand it off to the parent, and then they share their journey on top of Jaclyn's. There's no oxygen left in that room, and you're not human if you can't process that. So that kind of levels the playing field of anything that may be bumpy. And we try to pre-screen that ahead of time, of course. That's why they got to be in. Everybody's got to be in with both feet. and on the same page.
Well, I think that, what you've kind of shown to us just in this interaction, and Dennis, when I spoke to you on the phone, this is the most human thing I think I've ever seen. It's not a numbers thing. This isn't we're just trying to get kids to teams. This is an individualized, personalized, professional, developed plan to give these children, their siblings, their families, an experience that will, as you said, change their life. And in a very cookie cutter, carbon cut world, this is it. This is really something I'm looking at and just drawing a ton of inspiration from. And we just thank you both so much for what you do, and for being available and wanting to share it with us on a podcast that we thought of a couple months ago. We got a little ways to go before HBO Real Sports, but we're just so happy to make this connection with you, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
This means a lot. Even though you guys say you're small, it's the small little things that will blow up into the big, beautiful, unbelievable adventures to come.
Yeah, and I believe, again, I was excited. I don't care, that, again, we look through life through a different set of lenses. And when I go on these campuses, I don't care if it's Notre Dame or USC or Ohio. I don't care about logos. I care about, these leaders, and the team wants to change this child's life. And they just happen to play, football at Cincinnati, or that's an afterthought. But the dots connect for a reason. You got to have faith for what we do. You got, that's something I learned. I'm Irish Catholic, one of 6 kids, and I did everything from going to church growing up. And you got to have faith to get through this. I've seen where our journey has gone, and the dots. There's a reason why we were connected, and it's Tommy Baker. Okay, there's the connection. It was for a reason. So I really believe that. So this was destined to happen. And I think you're going to see, and I think we're going to come back and share with you some of the children's lives that you changed.
That's amazing. And, for me, the growth and connection is so important in anybody's life, but certainly in my life. The people that I connect with and the growth that I experience from that is what drives me. And so as I process the Friends of Jaclyn program, you are providing growth and connection to a young person who may be in a stagnant place, right? And you talked about that isolation, and so providing them that opportunity to step out of that isolation and grow and connect is a lifeline. It is a lifeline. So thank you for your courage to enter into that space. Jaclyn, thank you for telling your story. And Denis for being willing to make it your life's work. It is it's a gift, and that you continually give. So we appreciate you.
No,
Thank you so much.
grateful and humble.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Gentlemen, welcome back to another Snake in the Draft. I'm excited to be back. I hope you guys are happy to have me back. Whatever rumors Jordan and was spreading about me, definitely not true.
You were sloping on us.
I was hitting the ski slopes first time in 6 years since I've skied.
Okay.
Exciting, thrilling. No major injuries. Did feel
Good.
pretty sore the next day. But it was awesome. It was a great time. Happy to be back, though.
Glad to
And I
have
have
you.
a question for you guys. A little bit of a different game we're going to go with tonight. So I'm not going to bound you to just 9 and possible answers, but we're going to kind of go off course a little bit. And what I want to talk about, a question I was thinking about on the drive back home, was what are 3 people you would want to have to lead you out of the wilderness? So say you're lost in the wilderness, you're in need to get out, right? You're running low on food and water. These are the 3 people that are going to lead you out of this situation. And again, it's open for interpretation. So one thing is that they have to be alive. You don't have to know them, but they have to be alive. That's the one thing. So I'm going to go first because I missed last week. My guy, it's going to be a little bit basic, but he's going to be our point person. He's going to be a legend. He's going to be our guy. Is Bear Grylls. I saw him drink his own pee one time. I saw him do some funny stuff with Marshawn Lynch. I think he would be incredible to be in the backwoods with, and he would 100% lead us out. So that's my captain of my team thus far.
I feel like so now you can basically pick literally anyone else because he's just going to lead you out, and you can pick like 2 knuckleheads to just follow him. He's going to do everything.
True or false?
Frickin' frack.
I mean,
You know who I'm gonna pick?
my dad's still on the board. If you want to pick him, he's a pretty outdoorsy guy. My
His
brother
name is Pat Outside. I think that's the second Pat Outside mention since the podcast started.
I think he's gotten multiple mentions.
I'm going to take Marshawn Lynch. Yeah.
Did we decide the draft order yet? Like, did I?
Oh, Francis is too. You're 3. You're 3.
Does he not have, like, is that not a fair question? He has a history of skipping me.
Well,
What?
we're gonna peg you at 3, Jordy. After all the rumors you've been spreading about me gone for last week.
Were you gonna take Marshawn Lynch?
Not anymore.
All right, well, there you go.
Why do you want Marshawn Lynch again?
Beast mode. And when you're in the wilderness, I would rather be with the beast than be hunted by the beast. So there's that.
That is great.
Well, that leaves me with no other choice but to choose Pat Outside. That's who I'm going with. I'm gonna choose, for those who don't know Pat, that's Sean's father. He is what I would call a generational MacGyver. He could figure anything out. That he would need to figure out, and I feel very confident that he would be not only a great leader to get us out of the woods, but also possibly provide some nice snacks and beverages. Like, he would have known that we were going to get lost in the woods and would have packed accordingly. That's where his mind goes.
That is very true. He was the king of like having snacks at all the lacrosse tournaments growing up. He was the king of, and you're right. My modern day MacGyver is a phenomenal. He's going to like that one when he listens. He's going to really like this part of the pod. So it's not a bad
boy, Pat.
I'm going to have Skittles. I know that much.
True. Very true. Jordy, you get a follow-up pick and then back to Francis.
Follow-up pick. I am going to say, to get us out of the woods, and it can be anyone. Living, historical, anybody, right? Or are we just going living?
We could do living. You can do that too. We're bending the rules left and right. Remember when Coach Randall picked pumpkin pie on list of Thanksgiving
Game changer?
items? Listen, we do whatever we want around here to promote good conversation.
I'm going to say Teddy Roosevelt. It's right. Like, this was kind of like his thing.
That's not bad.
Right?
No, I don't know.
I don't know. Right?
I like it.
Teddy Roosevelt.
I like it.
Great leader. Had a great history of like figuring things out.
Mm-hmm.
Did he chop down a cherry tree? Is that why you picked him?
That was George Washington, I believe. And
so then it really doesn't make sense.
Might have been Grover Cleveland, Jordan. You might be crossing your wires on presidents.
Grover Cleveland.
Not bad. All right, we'll take that. Francis, off to you, sir.
For my next pick, I'm going to take Serena Williams.
Okay.
Very
Why
good.
Serena?
Tennis is one of the most grueling sports as far as your what am I thinking of? Your ability to just sustain freaking punishment over a long period of time, right? Your fitness has to be incredible. Serena is an incredibly powerful woman. She won a major tennis tournament while growing another person inside of her.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
I just feel like I'm going to need somebody with that sort of fortitude and strength at my side, or maybe to carry me, because I do not have that same level of fortitude.
That's a good pick. That is a really good pick. I'm going to go a little off the beaten path. I'm going to pick Dave Chappelle to be on my team too. So I have Bear Grylls, but Dave's going to be the guy when we go. I mean, I'm going to be lagging on this trail. I'm going to need a little pick me up, a couple jokes. Dave's going to be there. You know, he always
I thought you were going to
delivers.
say a couple.
Well, he's got those too for sure. And he might be taking a couple sig breaks and slowing us down. But he's hilarious, and I'd love to have him out in the woods. Even if you're in a bad situation, he can make light of a bad situation. So Dave Chappelle is a great guy to have. This is me again, correct, Mr. Jordy?
Yeah.
Just double checking. For my last person, because we're kind of doing historical figures too, I would say I would want someone fast to like run up and get ahead of us and see what's going on the trails. But since Jordy's bending the rules with historical figures, I want Steve Irwin on my side too. He would be awesome with identifying different animals in the wilderness and stuff that may possibly cause us harm, along with Bear. I think we have a power couple guys leading us, and then me and Dave could be cracking jokes on the rest of the way. So I think that's my team. Pretty good team with that.
Wow. All right.
That's pretty good.
Third person I'm going to pick. This is a real wild card, and I'm not really sure of her fitness level, but I'm taking Kamala Harris. She's new. She's got the energy. She can lead a country. She can get us out of the woods, right? Going for it.
There we go. Not a bad call. That's a pretty good team you got. I'm excited to see what Jordy's got. He's got my dad and Teddy Roosevelt. What a team.
Well, to be fair, similar logic to Teddy Roosevelt, if he's fit enough to run a country, right? And he did a good job, seemingly. He should be able to get us out of the woods.
Where are we going with this?
I'm literally just trying to make sense of that Teddy Roosevelt pick. I feel like I kind of blanked, and
you better not say Boris Yeltsin.
Boris Yeltsin. This is going rogue. Like this draft is like Stuntman City, just crash test dummies. So I got Pat, Sean's dad. I got Teddy Roosevelt, former president of the United States. I think where I would go now is just to complete this team, I guess, would be Jimmy Butler.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with Jimmy.
I like that.
There's a split second where I thought you were gonna say Jimmy Buffett. I was really awaiting that explanation.
Jimmy Butler has shown us that he is a fiery competitor. He, is willing to make sacrifices to win, and he's a great leader under the right circumstances. And he's my favorite, go-to meme or GIF.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. The picture of him hunched over in the finals when he literally gave it all
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking about.
Jimmy Butler has great facial expressions too. So like if somebody was being like, a little too much, I think it'd like be funny for me to kind of look over at him and he'd make a funny face and we'd both get a laugh out of it. So I feel pretty good about my team, to be honest. The Teddy Roosevelt one, that's a little bit of a rogue pick. That went a little high and outside, to be honest. Can I trade it? I wouldn't trade it though. I didn't. I'm telling you, I like blacked out and Teddy Roosevelt came out of my mouth. I just have that vision in my head of him on the horse, right? He was like on the horse. Like there's this picture of him on the horse. And
there may have been times he was not on a horse, but
I'm thinking just of the one time though.
Just the one time.
And maybe in this fantasy world where I get lost in the woods with somebody who's no longer living, Pat Tandy and Jimmy Butler, he's on the horse.
You may be thinking of, you may be crediting the movie Night at the Museum for the imagery there of Teddy Roosevelt on a horse.
Is that right? Wow, that's embarrassing.
You're like, that's it. That's exactly it.
That's exactly what I'm thinking about. It's super embarrassing. Yeah. Super embarrassing. I don't take it back. I don't take it back.
You know what? I would almost like, well, if Steve Irwin wasn't an option because obviously, sadly, he's deceased, I would have Nicolas Cage on my trio too, because we could also stop by, maybe get the Declaration of Independence, and he would be a wild card in the backwoods. He would be very much of a wild card and entertaining. So, but awesome, gentlemen, great draft. Thanks for having me back again. And excited for another awesome podcast. It was great today. Yeah, fellas, good teams. Can't wait to see what the people have to say. So good stuff.
I think I won that one, guys.
I am very, very, very confident that I lost. Very confident. I came in 3rd out of 3. That's not good.